I think there's a psychology behind too much information, right? Because if I'm thinking about myself and why I tend to do that, right? Number one, the fear of failure, because I'm always thinking like, is what I'm researching, is it right? You know, so I continue to just go deep into the rabbit hole, trying to figure out, like, I want to make sure that I have all the information, right?
I'm not researching to see if XYZ platform is the next best thing. It's got AI built into it. It's got no. It's like, hey, this current ERP we're using is limited.
Right.
And before I go on research, I want to list everything that I need.
That's true.
You know, I learned from a friend of mine how he made decisions, and we kind of came to the same conclusion, which is beta test everything.
Yeah.
So I research it. I'm like, MVP, minimum viable product.
Yes, that's it.
Let's go.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Grind.
BTG.
Hey, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our future content. Our podcast is about business and lifestyle. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. My name is Kay.
Hi, I'm Alan.
And I'm Tosin. And today we're going to be debating on whether too much information is good for you or not.
I actually have a confession.
What?
I feel like I'm one of those people that spend so much time researching to the point that nothing ever makes sense again after a while.
And that's
Analysis
where I'm going.
paralysis, right?
And that's where I'm going.
Yep.
It's like at some point there's going to be some diminishing returns inside all of that research that people are doing.
So I'm guilty of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, but you know how I mitigated that?
How?
I give a deadline.
Let's not talk about mitigation yet, because I want people to understand, like, why do you think people do that?
Because they're seeking perfection, and the best way to do it, they don't want to mess up.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah. That's absolutely.
Are they seeking perfection?
No, they want to find a way to do it right the first time without messing up.
Or are they looking for an answer that goes with what they think should be right? And they're just looking for proof out there. I want to do is what is
or they don't know what they don't know until they see it.
I think there's a psychology behind too much information, right? Because if I'm thinking about myself and why I tend to do that, right? Number one, the fear of failure, because I'm always thinking like, is what I'm researching, is it right? You know, so I continue to just go deep into the rabbit hole, trying to figure out, like, I want to make sure that I have all the information, right? Number two, part of it is perfection as well. You know, where you feel like until you have everything that you need,
you can't start.
You can't start.
Yeah.
So that's number two. Number three, false productivity. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes I tend to think that because I'm researching, I'm actually
doing work.
When that's not the reality.
And you keep going this way in the research.
Exactly.
You don't even touch what you need
and
to
the
touch.
last one, the internet makes it so easy
oh my God.
for you to think that you're actually learning.
The algorithm. It'll keep feeding you the same stuff. So you're like, oh, I got to learn this. Oh, I got to learn this.
And you think it's a good thing when it's really not. One of the I don't know if you guys ever been sick or had a symptom and you go Google it on
don't.
Is it WebMD?
Google
WebMD. And then you read so much, you're like, oh, I'm gonna die.
I got all these symptoms, and they're like they're generalized. I'm about to die. You have chest pain. Oh, I
got a rash.
So you know, and for me, I just think that's at least for me, that's the reason. Do you ever run into that as well?
No, I'm one of those people that
he jumps.
You know, like, hey, you know, it's gonna be cloudy outside. Okay, like, okay, why do I need to research that? You know,
so because you're not one of those people, and Ellen and I, you know, we're one of the.
I was him. I morphed into this because I was him.
Why do you think folks are like that, though? If you just have to guess.
I would just say people are just looking for that perfect answer. Maybe it's that perfection. But I never believe that there is perfection out there.
Is it?
You know, no matter how much you research, no matter how much you learn, how do you even know if you're someone seeking perfection? How do you know you got there? All right,
there's this feeling you get.
No feeling, really.
That feeling, so
that feeling never comes. All right, that's probably why, and maybe just trying to always put the best out there.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean that you need to over research.
So, how do you know? Because I want to come back to you, Alan. How do you know when you are at that point where you're doing too much?
You get frustrated because you feel like there's no end, right?
Yeah,
you're like, am I ever going to get started?
For me, I feel like I'm consuming too much information.
And you get overwhelmed.
I feel like what I'm consuming, I'm not able to apply it.
Also, when you feel like the more you learn, the further from the goal you are.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, I thought it was right there.
Yep.
And now they keep moving the goalposts.
Yep.
And you're like, man, I started here, somehow ran this way instead of this way.
Exactly.
That's when you're like, all right.
Exactly.
And then you also get fatigued.
Yes.
Right? And you get analysis paralysis and brain fatigue.
Yes.
And you get demotivated and then you just are like stuck not doing it.
So I want to ask some questions because this is kind of like
interesting.
It's new to me. I'm like, Lord, why are these people still researching? But I need some examples. You guys got to
I got
some example of why, like, what were you researching and why did you feel like you had to just keep going and grab as much information as possible?
Everybody knows my story. I used to run a financial technology company that ended up failing, right?
I was going to say.
And when I started doing what they call a retrospect or introspect.
Yeah.
I ended up realizing what I should have done versus what had actually happened. So I am starting a whole new YouTube channel to essentially help entrepreneurs that are, starting their own startup, right?
Yep.
These are the things that I did, learn from my mistake, right? But I didn't just want to come from my own perspective. I wanted to also do research based on what statistics says about why things don't necessarily happen the way it's meant to happen. So what do you do? So I start writing my script, and then I realize once I'm done with my script, I'm good. I feel like it's perfect. Then I go to sleep, and then I wake up and I read it, and I start tweaking it.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. And I can never get to a point where I can make a decision that this thing is final. And I'll hear somebody, because I love to research, right? And I'll read a book, or I'll hear a podcast, or I'll hear somebody's interview, and I'm like, man, that's good. That's good. That's good. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that.
There's no more space. Yeah.
And then I'm constantly tweaking my script. And it gets to a point where I feel like I'm being indecisive. I can't make any decisions. So and that's when I know that I have information overload.
Have you found a solution to?
Oh, yeah. I found a solution. We'll talk about it, but that's kind of like my story. But I want to hear yours.
For me, a lot of the time is marketing. And I've, I'll research this.
A lot of guessing with marketing too.
Exactly. So, in a lot of, mom's basement marketing company gurus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you just some 16-year-old kid in your mom's basement, and then two, I would say it's like, to be honest, nothing is ever dental. Like, I'm pretty decisive, like, when it comes to clinical. I feel like that's the easiest part about the business, to be honest. It's more like, if I'm to implement AI, how do I do this? The biggest issue is when you're stepping into a realm that you don't have enough information on or know enough about, then that's when it takes you a while to make the decision. Yeah. And especially when it has to do with finances. If you're like, this is going to be costly if I misstep, right? That's when you're like, I don't know enough to just misstep.
Yep.
Right? So then you take forever and do nothing. And in the inaction, you're actually losing money because you're still paying bills and you're still wasting time and you're stressing yourself out. So it's almost like a zero sum. If you're going to spend that much time doing all that, you should just do nothing. Don't even do it. Go find something else to do.
Yeah. So I know, you asked a question earlier, what am I currently doing now to make sure that I don't have information overload, right?
Right.
I do 4 things. Number 1, I set a research limit. So whether 1 day, 2 days, I say, look, I'm only going to research for one day or 2 days, and that's it. And whatever information that I've been able to gather, that's what I'm sticking with. Number 2, I have a 70%, what do I call it? A 70% rule, meaning that I don't need to know everything. I just need to know 70%, right? Because having that.
But how do you determine what 70%?
I'm like,
no, because if you think you know 70%, you know 7.
yeah.
And I'll tell you, in my research, right, I'm looking at things from a holistic perspective, right? So let's say, I guess the easiest way to describe this is, let's say I'm a project manager, right? And I am researching the phases of a project from discovery, which is the initiation, all the way down to closure, right? I might not necessarily know all the bells and whistles that goes into the closing of project. So, user adoption and, testing and all these things. But I have a general idea of what it is, but I don't know all the details, right? So 70% for me might be, for each phase, I have the general gist of what needs to happen.
This is okay. That makes sense,
right? So that's number 2. Number 3, I adopt an MVP model. So basically, what that means is,
what does MVP stand for?
Minimum viable products.
Yeah.
So when I say MVP model, what I'm saying is that once I have whatever information that I need, just do it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to be perfect, but you'll be so surprised how much you can learn from what you've already put out.
Right. That's it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of times, if you're searching for perfection and you're trying to figure out, okay, should I add this? Should I add that? You're just, it's just you. You are in you're getting in your own way. But if you're able to just put it out there, the market will react, or people will give you the necessary feedback that you need. But guess what? At least you've gotten started, right? And which leads to the 4th one, which is to develop some type of feedback loop. So once I've put it out there and I've gotten my feedback, okay, I can take that feedback and I can go implement that feedback and put it out again. But so it's like steady improvement in what I'm doing. So to my YouTube example, the first video might not necessarily be the best, but I guarantee you as I continue to build, I'll continue to get better. It's just like our podcast. Our producer would tell you, if you go back and watch our first, podcast,
I was still handsome.
the level of quality is different from the level of quality that we have now.
That's right.
And that's just life in general, right? And we talk about it. If you want to be perfect, you will never ever get started. So those kind of 4 things are kind of the things that I've implemented to make sure that I am not standing in the way of me being able to execute.
Right.
Now, what we're not saying is that people should not research.
Right. That's why I said set a research limit.
So, yeah. So, because I want to make sure that people understand that even inside what we do, we're still intentionally researching.
Right. Yes.
Right. It's just
don't get lost in it.
Yes. We don't want that to stop people from being able to execute on whatever it is.
Yep.
So an example is I moved because I don't think anybody else was on board. I moved my CPA firm's ERP system from QuickBooks to Zoho.
Yes.
All right. And that's like a massive transition for all of us.
Me too.
And the clients that are getting all kinds of emails.
I always get a lot of emails.
And then new ways of making payments and all that good stuff. Now you gotta log into your account and all that.
There was a lot of friction.
All right. Yes, there's a lot of friction in it. But do you know how much research I did to do that?
Let me guess. One day or
nah, bro. I did a lot of research.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
However, I don't feel like it was an overload.
Okay.
Because of the magnitude of the decision.
Okay.
I felt like there had to be more intentionality in going to research which ERP is good. Because by the time we moved to Zoho, that wasn't the only ERP
But did you put a cap to it, though? How did you know that you wasn't overloading yourself with information?
No, he beta tested with little stuff. Research.
I was researching what the outcome was supposed to be, or the results that I was looking for.
Right.
That's all I was researching. I'm not researching to see if XYZ platform is the next best thing. It's got AI built into it. It's got no. It's like, hey, this current ERP we're using is limited.
Right.
And before I go on research, I want to list everything that I need.
That's true.
So
and who checks off that box?
All I'm researching, I don't need to know everything. I mean, the new ERP Zoho has, like, if you research it out there, it's got all kinds of apps everywhere. And
no, use half of them most of the time.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know it does all of these fancy things, but I was looking for these, let's call it 4 or 5 things. So I would go to ERP1. When I'm researching, I have my 4 or 5 things in front of me. It's like, do you do this? Do you do this? Okay, you do this. Let me see how you do that. Now, okay, you do that. Check. If you do that, let me see how you do it. Oh, you don't do that? Nah, maybe I'll put you in one corner over there. Go on to the next, to the next, to the next. So usually my type of research is based on what I'm looking for.
So you're saying that what helps you is because you're in control of what you're looking for, and you're not letting the research dictate
what I need to get
that you're getting.
I think that's a little bit, because that's a specific example to that specific situation. You had more control.
Yes. What if you don't have control?
Like,
what if you don't know?
When he's talking about like projects and project management, he doesn't have as much control, right? Because he's not researching equipment or software or platforms. He's researching like how people are going to respond only. That's his only feedback.
But the way I look at that is that there's no research is going to tell me how a project is going to shake out, because one, we've said in the past, 2 people can be doing the same exact thing.
Yes.
And you will not get the same. Most likely not. Let me put that in there. Most likely not get the same results.
Yes.
So I can research all day long.
Right.
About, hey, we're supposed to. That's all great. I'll put that in my pocket. Let's start. Let's see what you got.
So let me bring it back. So, when I said I used to be like him, like, let's go. Then you bump your head a lot of times and you're like, maybe I just need to stop leading with my big forehead.
But don't get me wrong, I'm like that when I know what I'm looking for, though.
So now I'm like, okay. Then I got into the point where I was over researching everything to death, to where I was like, I'm just so tired. I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't even want to do the project. I don't even want to make this move.
With every answer, there's a question that you like, why?
So then I realized, okay, I learned from a friend of mine how he made decisions, and we kind of came to the same conclusion, which is beta test everything.
Yeah.
So I research it. I'm like, MVP, minimum viable product.
Yes, that's it.
Let's go. If I have a project to do, I'm like, the project has to be going and good in 90 days. Research period is the first 2 weeks.
Yep.
Next 3 weeks or whatever is we're starting and we're implementing, we're beta testing. By day 30 or 45, we already know what our results are for the most part. And we're like, okay, dump 2 of the 3. We'll keep 1, add 2 more. Because this isn't exactly what I wanted to. By 90 days, we're full on. This is the one we're doing, and we're good. We're not.
No.
And it just makes it easier for me, because I feel like I'm starting, but you're not going to get the feedback until you start. And that's the issue that most people have. They don't start. They just like, but I need this. But I need this. I need to do this.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who was supposed to be on a podcast. I'm talking about pre-COVID. Every time. And this isn't even a dig. And it's like, I got to get these couches. I got to get these same lights. I'm like, and they're like, I need to get this to this.
2 episodes.
And I was like, over the summer, I was like, yo, let's go film this. We filmed that. And then obviously we all came together and we started. And they're like, I'm like, yo, when are you going to get this started? He's like, I don't know. I got to get there. I'm like, bro, you just got to go. By the time you get started, your ideas are in like history. They've already been done. They're irrelevant.
Like I always say, what a wise man once said, and that wise man is me. It's not about perfect execution.
Yeah.
It's about consistent motion.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Yes.
You got to just keep pushing and keep moving and
Yeah.
keep building. That's the only way.
You're gonna fail.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, starting looks terrible. Anybody who started anything, and I was listening to some radio hosts, some podcast hosts, some actors, some
Yes.
comedians, they always tell you, you think you're
Yes.
funny, but you're not. I promise you're not. It is terrible and trash.
I like the
go
comedian
on
analogy.
stage and you go into these little spots. Your work is trash.
Yeah.
You go to, try to sell out millions. You're not funny.
No.
It doesn't look good, but you gotta start.
Yeah.
And you gotta get the feedback, the criticism, because that's
Yes.
how you grow.
Yes.
You can't just look for the perfect joke forever. You gotta go tell the joke in front of people and they be like,
Even how do you know it's a perfect joke?
well, you
once
think it's funny.
Yeah.
Because you told it to your peer, right? They have the same sense of humor as you probably. So then they're like, you tell in front of a stage, they're like, get this guy out of here.
Well, let
Sweep 'em off.
me throw this at you guys. For folks out there, especially nowadays, we all use ChatGPT, right? What if there's somebody out there that is saying, hey, I don't want to consume myself in information overload, but sometimes if I am prompting AI and AI is giving me the information that I need and the information that I'm being given to, I still don't understand and I have to ask more questions. Is that considered information overload? Because now you're going through.
I mean,
Just
that's more of
digging deeper.
learning and doing research, right?
Well-
Because you don't have the base knowledge to even understand what you're trying to learn.
Right.
So you have one of two things: learn it better, or go find someone to do that.
Yeah.
So granted your budget and stuff.
What are your thoughts?
Also using my thoughts, as soon as I heard you talking about AI and research, I'm like, just take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
All right. Just be careful.
Doesn't know everything.
I just noticed that there's a disclaimer at the bottom saying
I mean, because
Yeah.
it can
Be
only,
careful.
it could only give you projections and stuff based on history, right? Historical
not
data.
even, but it can also create
No,
stuff
I
too.
know. It can create something.
No, but here's what I was going. So there's something called AI hallucination.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I remember, I think like a couple of months ago,
It can be very agreeable.
I prompted ChatGPT on something, and I knew the answer, and it gave me like three. I was like,
Confidently
what?
gave it to you.
I was like, what are
So
you
the
talking
AI,
about?
this is what they said happens because you prompted in a manner, you suggested the answer in the way that it's supposed to derive it. So it's the way you prompt. That's how you get the hallucination.
I thought it was a random thing.
Sometimes that's what it was explained
That's
to
his
me as.
research.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Hey, this is not verified.
This is random. We're just going offshoot. But that's what it was. They were explaining to me like you the way you asked the question already suggested a direction. So, which is good sometimes, but when what was the example you gave? I can't remember the example you gave, but it was that like because you gave it kind of like,
It's got to find like a new answer from the answer that you already gave.
Exactly, kinda.
Which
It
is
like-
within the answer that it wanted to give, but then the answer is not available, so
it's
it
just
hallucinates.
Exactly.
It sounds like
kind of that. It's just convoluted.
there's nothing like good old research.
Well, and that's what I was about to say. Sometimes it's about where you're researching, because sometimes those rabbit trails are because you're pulling out tangential information.
Correct.
And it leads you this way and it keeps leading you out and then another video and then another podcast and then now somebody's talking about something
Then
completely
the algorithm just got you.
and then it
It's
keeps
in.
going and it keeps going.
And that's why I talk about the WebMD stuff, because
yes.
a simple headache.
Yeah.
Okay, you just need to
could be
take-
an
You got
aneurysm.
cancer
It
and
could
a
be
stroke.
it
It's
could
a
be
sleep
whatever.
Or
Nah,
something
you don't
like
look that. You just
Yeah.
need to
And
go
then
to someone.
because part of COVID could be you having headache, right? And
like everything.
maybe you find your way into headache and then COVID. Oh man, I got COVID.
But I always
and then
say-
from COVID to I'm gonna die.
I always say a solution to a lot of that deep diving is that when you go into details and you go granular, you need to back up and realize, you know what? The simplest way to do this is the way I should try first. And if it fails, that means it's easier for me to get out and do something else. And so that's something that I've kind of reminded myself. You're trying to do something new, not be a professor at it.
Right.
You know, like just do it. Do it. And so you can hurry up and mess up, learn from it, and then figure out which way to go. This is not going to be good. If it's good, then great. But it's not going to be the way you imagined it to be. Yeah. So,
no, but you said it right, though. I want to touch on that point that what we're talking about here is different research than you trying to write a dissertation paper.
Right.
That's different.
You know, trying to cure some kind of incurable disease. Please do all the research. Go down all the rabbit holes.
Everything you need to do.
Go deep as possible.
You argue your points.
You know, that's not the type
imagine
of
they just tried once.
You know, the research we're talking about is research to be able to just start something.
Yes.
Start a business, start a podcast.
Yes.
You know, launch a product. Right. Well, depending on the type of product. Right. So those are the type of research we don't want you to be bogged down by information overload or analysis paralysis or all the different words that they throw out there. Right. Because it's not just about the research that you do, but also it's going to be very important in the execution of whatever you're researching.
Right? You can study the playbook all day. You don't get no reps.
It's quite interesting because I remember, you know, before we started this podcast, right? And I was telling you that I have this podcast idea, and he's like, really? I got the same idea. And I know somebody else who got the same idea. And then I was like, okay, but the reason why I haven't gotten started is because I'm still trying to set up my camera. And you was like, oh yeah, I'm trying to set up my camera too. And it was like,
I'm like, let's go.
It was like, oh, we got the producer, we got this person, we got that person. Let's have a meeting. And boom. We didn't know how it was going to get done. We just knew we wanted to get started, right? And sometimes all you need is the idea to get started. And then you just figure the rest out.
Or you find people.
Yeah, you find people.
Find the right people.
Which is what we're leveraging. You know? Shout out to all our producers.
You got to find the right people.
In the background, y'all don't know there's a lot of people to make this thing happen.
Yeah. But it's going back to points that you guys have mentioned about mentors, about consultants. Maybe I don't need to research everything on my own. There's somebody that already knows the way, right? And I've done enough research.
I'm good for leveraging people.
And you leverage other people's knowledge.
Hey, the thing is, you know, some people may thrive and love and are good at like getting the nuggets out of the research, right?
No. Time is money, bro.
No, let me finish. Those people, we need you. Because people like us look. That may be your gift and calling.
I'm going to call you and ask you a few questions.
No, that may be your gift. You may be that person who looks up stuff. Like my friends are like, man, you just look up stuff and find it quick. I'm like, it's easy.
Okay. What I'm hearing is, so Alan is good at marketing, right? If I want to market my stuff, I'm not doing any marketing research.
Wait a minute.
Because last time I was on the phone with Alan, I was like, yeah, I'm really good at marketing. I know.
So you're going to get us 1 million subscribers to be on the grind by tomorrow, right?
I said I was beta testing some stuff because I got frustrated with the results I was getting with others. And now I'm yielding better results.
Well,
that's it.
Anyway, obviously you talked about, you know, having a structure in terms of just knowing exactly what you're looking for, and then just narrow your research to exactly what you're looking for, right? I talked about the things that I've done to help me, which was setting a limit to the research. Once I have like a knowledge threshold, right, start executing, and then just adopting the MVP mindset, right? And then use that to collect feedback. Am I missing anything else that we talked about?
That was it.
Is there anything else you think folks can learn?
No, that's pretty much it.
Hey, put it in the comment section, man. How do you know when you have information overload, and what are the things that you're currently doing to, I guess, get out of that phase, right? And if there's something that we talked about that you actually liked and you learned, put it in the comment section. We want to hear from you. Until next time, my name is Kay. You can find me on Instagram at OneHorizon. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at iam.adds. And I want to say, if you're good at researching, what I was leading to before was that if you're good at researching, that's your superpower.
Okay.
So that people like us who want to just go can get started.
I thought you was going to tell them to reach out to us.
No, reach out to us for sure.
They can do all our research.
We have all our producers help us with stuff too. So, you know, we all have our lanes that we're good at. Yeah. But anyway, Tosin.
You can find me at Tosin on my tile.
Yeah.
I love researching, but if you like it more than I, let me know.
Until next time. Hey, and if you don't know how to research, leverage the people around you.
That's right.
But until next time, peace out.